All right, we're here with Flynn to talk about 107. So, um, a lot has kind of happened in the first part of the draft, but I feel like it's almost kind of gone very normally when you compare it to at least a lot of other rookie drafts that I've been a part of, in the sense of the first five picks have kind of been that group of Gianti at number one, Hampton, Tet, um, Hunter, Ward, and then we just saw 106 just happened with Henderson, and that puts you here at 107. And so, kind of talk me through what your thought process has been, what it came to this pick, how it fits your team, trade discussions, all the things. Let's catch up on all the things.
Uh, so basically, my big concern was adding into the running back during the draft. My running back room took a pretty big hit in the offseason. I let some guys walk. I think I'm starting Tank Bigsby as my RB2 right now.
Oh yeah.
So I was really kind of hoping one of the good running backs fell to me. So, that did happen. There was a scenario where that wouldn't happen. I was a little afraid.
Yeah.
But it played out.
And so let's talk about the pick. I didn't do the sound for some people, but I remember to do the sound for you, Flynn. That's how much I care about you. Pick 107, we went with Quinshawn Judkins. You kind of asked me as we started to record this, Judkins or Henderson. Did you have a preference when it came to these running backs, or were you kind of happy however it fell, no matter which one you got, as long as you got one of these guys here?
I had a slight preference towards Judkins all along, and I'm not entirely sure why. There's a couple of things, like he's a good blocker, so I think he can get on the field more. Another thing was something you alluded to is he has less competition in Cleveland, so I think it'll be easier for him to get on the field. Ramondre, I think, is better than Jerome Ford, although Jerome Ford's pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they were very close. I think Trayvon has a bit more of an injury history too, so I thought about that. So I always liked Judkins all along.
Yeah. The only concern that you kind of said, and we joked about too, is that now you have all of the Cleveland Browns offense, it seems like, except for Njoku. You have Deontay, who just got signed there. You have Tillman. You have Judy. You have Kenny Pickett. And now you've got Judkins. We also just made a trade. You sent me your 26th first for Deshaun Watson. It's official. I said it on the recording.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
it's because his contract's
I'm the quarterback slut of this league. So.
You are, and he's only a dollar, Flynn. Please take him from me. I'll sell for anything at this point. No, but I mean, you've got so much of that offense. But on paper, that offense isn't terrible. Is Kenny Pickett the best? No, but those receivers are good, and we saw them produce last year, except for Deontay. Now they're adding a more dynamic running back to the backfield, so things should be fine, right? Does it give you any pause or a major concern?
A little bit. I mean, I think Stefanski, he's a good coach. He's a good offensive coach. Even with all the injuries, that offense still did pretty well throughout the past couple of years with all the kind of turmoil they've had. So yeah, I like I like all the players that I have on that roster. It might be hard for them to all kind of get consistent points.
Yeah.
But it's a good group overall, I think.
Well, not only that too, but we talked about this before as well. But the Browns could have taken anybody in the second round. They went with Judkins. Notably, I would say, no receivers, getting drafted, right? So that means they're happy with what they saw with Tillman. Happy with Judy being their one. So, you've got some positive signs there as well. If anything, going after a tight end, the running back. So they're building on what they already have, as opposed to saying we need to find a better replacement for Tillman. We want him as a 3, or we need a real number 1 and move Judy, to a number 2 or a slot role. Like, they've got confidence in their guys. Whether they're right or wrong, they've got the confidence there, and I think that's the important thing, and kind of gives you some peace of mind. So.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, and both Judy and Tillman were low-key like beasts at various parts of the season last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Tillman got hurt and missed most of the rest of the season. but he was putting up outrageous numbers for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Judy kind of became what everybody thought he might be coming out of college when he hit the Browns. Like Denver just couldn't get him to perform for whatever reasons. But
Do you have any
I'm
concerns?
hopeful.
Do you have any concerns that was Jameis Winston just being Jameis Winston and saying "fuck it, let me throw the ball," or do you think that was just kind of the coming out party for Jerry Jeudy, really? Because I mean, I think a lot of people forget how high he went in the draft.
No, I definitely concerned. I was crossing my fingers all along that like maybe they'll bring back Jameis. Like, please bring back Jameis.
Yeah.
Because like Jameis is not a great NFL quarterback, but he's a great fantasy producer. You know, especially for his position players, maybe not always for himself.
Right. Yeah, but for the guys that are getting the ball.
Yeah.
I've referenced this, I think, a couple times now. I don't know if it's in videos or just to friends, because I saw it and I thought it was the truest thing in the world. This is, pre-Jackson Dart, pre-Jackson Dart, pre-Russell Wilson. And it was like Jameis Winston, 5,783 yards, 40 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. Malik Neighbors, 2,100 receiving yards, 40 touchdowns. Giants go 3-14, have the second overall pick. And I was like, that is like the most chaotic, lovable outcome from like a fantasy football perspective. And then Russ got signed, which broke my heart. Excited for Jackson Dart. I think that's fun. But I really did. I really wanted to see Jameis kind of just be the guy in New York or somewhere else, just because I think he's so fun for fantasy. Like he's gonna bomb it. He doesn't kind of care what happens, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, he's total team chaos, and I love it.
Yeah, throw him in the super flex spot in a bye week. Why not? Or when you need one of those big games where you're not going to win or need a massive performance, and see what happens. How do you feel about the team build overall that you've got so far? New division, I want to touch on a bit as well, because you're not quote unquote held down so much anymore in your new division. But kind of talk me through how you're feeling kind of coming into this upcoming season here.
Yeah, I feel better. A whole shitload better. All along, I was hoping, I knew I was going to get paired up with one of the previous division mates. Right. And I was no insult to Unicorn, but I was kind of hoping it would be him. K-Megs and Cam's success kind of speaks for itself in this league. And, not to say Unicorn hasn't been great too. But I do feel like his team was skewing a little older, so there might be an opportunity to, move ahead of him eventually.
Yeah. And then you've got Nate and Alan as your division mates. I feel like Nate kind of knows where he is, and it's kind of in that rebuild mode, right? So you already have one less division mate to worry about, which is more than we can say kind of for the last couple of years that you've been here with us.
Yeah.
But Alan's kind of that wild card too of, first season was terrible, second season was great, third season was great, but then there's the questions of, was that the division? Was it actually his team? The cap issues he had, but now he's got cap space this year. So I feel like the top of the division's got to be considered you and Unicorn, but then you kind of have Alan playing this role that you were almost playing last year of, I could blow your team up, but then lose the next week like it's nothing. And so, how much stock have you put into your division, and kind of how do you think it's gonna go this year for the division?
I think there's probably a 3-team race. Nate's still rebuilding.
Yeah.
Al, and you hit the nail on the head with that. Me and Alan are kind of high variance. Like we can lead the league in scoring one week and just be last place in scoring the next week.
Yeah.
He did a pretty good job. He had some cap trouble, but he navigated it pretty well with maybe a little bit of help. Not naming any names. Mm-hmm. But so his team's pretty solid going into this season again. And I'm still bitter that he beat me by like a half a point in the playoffs, because they wouldn't pass Brock Bowers the goddamn ball.
Yeah, I swear that that was the most intense I've ever felt about fantasy football ever. So other than my first ever like championship win in a real league, like I played with friends like in high school and we were all idiots and all that type of stuff, and like I won one or two of those. But I'm talking like my first ever real league win, I was losing my mind. And then even when I won, I think you're in another fix. I think Rick commissions that league. Like even when I won that league, like that was cool. I was more freaking out about Brock Bowers catching a pass than I was about winning another fix, and I feel like the collective league was rooting for you in those moments, and
Yeah.
that was tough. But the highlight is you got off Pitts, and now you're on to Bowers and on to better things,
Oh, thank God.
and building that repertoire. And so, speaking of repertoire, really the last thing I want to talk about a bunch is this quarterback room. I feel like this has kind of been your thing to kind of have, and I don't want to say mediocre, right? Because it sounds like I'm insulting your team, and I really
That's
shouldn't be
fair.
talking about anybody's team in any negative way at all. I think I lost the right to do that for a few years at least. But I'm pulling up the specifics here to make sure I don't mess anything up. Filter quarterbacks specifically. Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Will Levis, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett are your starting, your feasibly starting quarterbacks. You also have Spencer Rattler, who, for all we know, could fucking start a game or two with this Derek Carr thing. Why? Like, just talk me through it, because I guess a lot of people in Superflex like get two good quarterbacks and go from there. We've seen other people go, but this is very shotgun approach, which is new and unique. And so, explain your strategy, please. And not an insult to. I'm just this is fun. I want to talk about it.
No, shotgun approach is the perfect way to describe it. I think I don't have any top tier options, and I'm unwilling to pay what it takes to get one right now, especially in a contract league where, I mean, you had Mahomes and Allen, like their contracts are just absurd and they're hard to navigate with.
Yep.
But sometimes you don't need those guys. Like Justin Fields in particular. Would anybody be surprised if he's a top 10 quarterback this year? He's not a good quarterback,
Right.
but he can rush for 1,000 yards. It seems like he has a firm hold on that Jets job. I don't think they're going to bench him anytime soon.
Yeah.
He may only be a one-year player, but I think they ride the season with him. Aaron Rodgers.
The inverse Jameis Winston. I can't throw it, but I will run it.
Yeah. And, I think he has like a top maybe 5 finish, like when he was with Chicago, like as quarterback.
Something like that. I'll look while we're talking.
Yeah, he could do it again. I think there's a good chance he finishes inside at least the top 15. Decent chance he finishes inside the top 10.
Number 7 in 2022 with Chicago. 15 games played.
Yeah, that sounds right. So 15 even. So if he got a full season out of it, could be big numbers. Rodgers is another guy. Who the hell knows what he's going to do? He could easily be a QB2 if he comes back. If he retires, great. I get a bunch of money back. And then the other guys, Bryce Young looked like there's signs of life last year.
Yeah, I agree.
If he continues that trend, he could actually be a pretty productive quarterback. So, it's iffy right now. I fully admit that. But
how many of these guys become potential trade assets for you? Let's say week 2, and of course, the last thing I want to do is wish injury on anybody, right? But let's say there's a team that starts 3-1, 4-2, and their quarterback, tears his ACL or hurts his Achilles or needs shoulder surgery or something like that. And a team is like, shit, I'm 4-2, I'm first place in my division. I don't have a solid QB 2 or 3, so it's either now I'm starting a running back in my super flex spot, or I call Flynn and say, here's a second, or a first for the quarterback and a third back. Like, is that an option for you thinking ahead of the future, or do you think that the rest of your roster is really solid? So if quarterback's your only weak point and you've got all these options, that's also not a bad deal at the same time. But, is that even a thought for you right now, or not so much?
No, I mean, that's totally part of the plan too. All of these guys are available. That's one of the reasons I accumulate so many of them, is because people often need quarterbacks mid-season or late season. So if they're not of any use to me, I can always flip them for something else valuable.
Yeah, especially with how many truthers there are out there. I mean, there are people who are always going to take a quarterback that went 101 and be happy to hold on to him. You know, Rodgers and Carr, you kind of know what you get of. They're going to be in your QB2 spot, and they're not going to blow your socks off. But hey, it's better than starting. I don't know, the RB2. Like, it's better than starting Tyler Algier or something like that in your super flex spot if you're at that point. Pickett, who knows, and all that. But it's very different. It's very fun. And you have Daniel Jones, formerly the best quarterback contract. Back in the good old days. Best contract.
Could be once again. It depends if you're an Anthony Richardson believer.
Yeah, that's a fun conversation. Let's wrap it with that, and also kind of your final thoughts. Do you think Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback for more games in the 2025 season than Anthony Richardson, or who would you bet money on?
I mean, is it a straight line, like 50-50? Like, what are the odds here?
Yeah,
just a money line.
I would say money line. I think 50-50. Okay. I really think you could go either way. I for sure think it goes one way, but that's me. What do you think?
I think, barring injuries, probably still Richardson. But we know his play's been erratic. He is injury prone so far from what we've seen. So I think there is a very good chance that Daniel Jones starts some games, half of them or more. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. I wouldn't bet money on it, but I feel like it's there, and that's why I'm still holding Jones.
Let's see if we can do this. I think it's Daniel Jones. Not pretty firmly. Like, I wouldn't bet my life on it, of course, but I think Steichen's a good quarterback coach, and I think that he might get Jones and figure it out. I'd love to like put some stupid little mini wager, like the other one owes like $2 in cap space for $1 in cap space or something stupid on it for like next year, but pretty sure that's illegal and I'll get yelled at for creating a condition of some kind again.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer,
see.
Especially more so now of that quarterback redemptions, right? We've seen it with Baker, we've seen it with Darnold now. Like there's a lot of upside to getting these guys on, smaller deals and just holding them, just hoping for a good situation.
Yeah, just let them sit there. Why not, kind of thing. Especially when they are for some, in comparison to some of these other contracts, they are pretty cheap. $20, I think he is this year. $26 this year. Like that's what half. That's like 5% of the cap room. Not even. It's almost like you're rolling the dice for what percent that's worth it.
Yeah, it's totally manageable too. Especially since I don't have some of the huge deals that some of the other teams have right now. I think Judy's like my top pig guy at this point.
I think Rodgers is obviously up there at the 120.
Oh, it might be Rodgers actually. You're right.
Yeah, but we're still not sure what he's going to do. Yeah, Rodgers at 120, Judy at 116. Next highest paid guy is David Montgomery at 75. Then it really drops off a cliff. I think 39 is the next highest paid player. So very much a bit more of a Moneyball approach. You've also kind of got some of those expensive cuts, the $160 some of cuts that you think.
Yeah, those were bad contracts and had to get rid of them.
Back in the good old days of the startup when we thought Pitts and Najee would do something nicely for us. Final thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about as we kind of wrap this up and move to Rick at 108?
No, sorry for being absentee on the group chats. Not so much in this league always, but in other leagues.
Wellness check. Yeah.
The wellness check, alive and well. But I don't know if this happens to other people, but like this league particularly, we're active and we're in the 32-teamer when that gets going.
Yeah.
Like my phone will just eventually give up on trying to like notify me that there's new messages.
Yeah.
If I don't get in there and clear them, so sometimes I miss out.
Huh. Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
guys.
my phone does not do that, but I wish that it did. I think because there's a couple leagues that we're in that'll just kind of start going and going and going, and then I'll just like for the most part I read every message in every league, but there are some times where like I come back and a league's got 80 messages and I'm like, I'll like read a couple and I'm like I don't care about any of this and just feel like cool, I'm caught up. It's tricky being in so many leagues. Why I like that some are quiet, but oh well. First world problems, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Rick, we're back to you for 108. We'll talk to you guys soon.